Namaste friends, today we will be talking about Ketu in the first house. Before analyzing that, we must understand what Ketu is and what first house is. Now Ketu is the graha of isolation or detachment. It isolates itself from every material features in this world. It doesn't have this feeling or this enthusiasm to gain more power or more money, relationship, this sort of things. Its only concern would be to reach the zenith of spirituality. That is his utmost concern, and he'll find ways to do so by research, by analyzing what people are thinking, what sort of wisdom can he acquire by reading books and by mixing with people and by perceiving this world. His ultimate intention would be to learn, to have this wisdom of what life is essentially. Okay, unlike his counterpart, who is Rahu, who isn't much interested about the spirituality at all. It's more interested in gaining power, wealth, possessions and desires and all sort of material success. It is pretty secular as well. He doesn't believe in God. Its only concern is himself. Ketu, on the other hand, is he has this feeling of contentment, that he says everything is enough. I don't want anything more. So and generally Ketu is a malefic planet. Why malefic? Isn't enough good? I mean, why was it is bad? No, because you have to understand something, that especially in our time right now, money is crucial. Okay, materialistic life is an important and integral way for us to survive. Within material success. Without material success, we will have a hard time to provide the welfare for our family and for ourselves. So it is very important. But what happens is, when Ketu sits in a particular house, it creates that realm of enoughness. Let me give you an example. If Ketu is in the fourth house represents mother, nurturing, caringness, conveyances like buying a house, car, properties. It is also the general house of luck and happiness. So if Ketu is there, then Ketu will find ways to say that, okay, if let's take the first one, for the mother, he'll find detachment with the mother. Okay, he would not make a person feel very excited about buying a house. Generally you feel that life is simple. Let's live a very simple life. Now it doesn't mean that this person is poor. The thing is, it'll make this person think that money is not the way to go. It's all about attaining spiritual bliss. So it makes the person think that way. Now, if you really think about it rationally, if you have Ketu, the 12th house, which is also the house of spirituality, it will be great, because you're in that house, and that house itself is meant for spirituality, and that's what it is seen. If you have Ketu in your 12th house, chances are you will be very, very interested in learning the everything about spirituality. You learn every religion, you learn every scriptures. You'll try to every time when you talk to someone, you try to understand what is this person trying to say. You try to get the essence of life. You try to understand what is the secret of our existence in this world. Those sort of philosophical, religious, spiritual things. It is really not interested in making money and power and getting into a relationship, those sort of things. So it can be damaging if it's on a certain house, especially if it's on the house where money is concerned, relationship, health, right? It causes a lot of damage, and the damage is collateral as well, because if there's other planets in conjunction with it. Now let's not talk about that. In summary, Ketu is all about the enoughness. Okay, everything is contented. There's nothing more to look for, right? And what is the first house? The first house is also sometimes called as the Ascendant. It is the beginning of the chart. It is a very important point in the chart, because that's the first house where we would start to calculate. So if someone says that look at the 7th house, means we would start from the first house, which is called the Lagna, right? The Lagna or the Ascendant. It is very important. It is very precise actually. Rather than taking the sun as the first house or the moon as the first house, the Lagna is taken as the first house for a simple reason, because it moves very fast and thus makes it very precise. It stays in a Rasi or a sign for 2.5 hours and then it jumps off to another sign, right? The first house is also called the mind, body, spirit house. Okay, how we perceive this world is seen in the first house. How do we judge things? What do we actually want in this life is seen in the first house. It's also the health is seen in this first house as well. And most of all, the first house is about an identity of who you are. It creates the identity in who you are, right? So now you know what Ketu is and what the first house is. Now let's put them together. What happens when Ketu is in the first house? When Ketu is in the first house, it creates something called a confusion in an identity. This person will be confused on who he or she is exactly. Yeah, fine, he goes goes for a job or does business, makes a lot of money, doesn't make a lot of money, it doesn't matter. Whoever it is, whoever, it can be a rich person, can be a middle class or a poor person. It doesn't matter who this person is. If Ketu is in the first house, he'll be concerned about what exactly he wants in life. He doesn't have a specific purpose. It's like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? Kind of thing. I'll just do whatever that has been told. I'll bring the basic needs, or I'll try to make some money here and there. Do some exercise to keep my body fit. But fine, what am I supposed to do in this world, in this time? There must be a greater purpose for me. And they'll be confused. A lot of problems will occur because of this seeking of knowledge endeavors. So they'll be constantly learning about spirituality, trying to strike the balance. The problem is when they are unable to strike the balance between what their material life. I mean, let's say they have family, they're earning and all that, feeding the children, so on and so forth. Parallelly, side by side, they'll be thinking about what is this life? Why is this so mundane? How can I achieve bliss? Sort of things. So there's always this confusion there, and it sometimes can be dangerous and harmful in a family, especially in a relationship circle. Also, when Ketu is in the first house, you'll have lack of empathy. They're not concerned about what's happening around them. They're more into self-discovery. So that creates a lot of lack of empathy. So you can't expect these people to do a lot of donation, charity, those sort of things will not work for them. They really are not interested. They always say is that there's a higher calling, there must be a higher purpose, something to do, right? And it can be damaging, as I was saying, if it falls in the 4th house, then it's going to have problems purchasing cars, house, your feelings towards your mother, your sense of nurturing, your commitment, your morality won't be there. They'll try to do things as simple as possible. Now what happens if this person gets married with another person who is on the opposite side, or rather they have Rahu in the first house, for example. Now Rahu is the inverse of Ketu. Whatever this Ketu person thinks, Rahu will think the other way around. What happens is these two people get together. Naturally, eventually either they live for the sake of living, for social obligation, or they'll get divorced. That is why I keep saying it's very important to analyze one's charts to see where are the planets are and what sort of influence are they showering on you, so that we could either take advantage or avoid certain things. To move on, the Ketu ascendant people are very creative. They are also seen as a daydreamers. Perhaps in school, some of us would have been not so attentive in class, not paying attention, and try to think something else, and that sort of personality normally turns out to be very intelligent, very creative. Some people even go up to the level of genius because they are not a follower. That's another key for Ketus. They hate to follow. They always lead. Sometimes they lead because it's not that they want to lead. Is their research work. They find that whatever people are saying, they try to dwell into what. Let's say someone comes to them and talks about creating weapons. For example, and these people will go up to the molecule level to see what's actually going on within the weapon, and eventually they'll have some kind of breakthroughs in their specific field of career or studies, and that creates a lot of leadership qualities within them. People will look at them as a great leader, as a great founder of something. And the other thing is, it aspects or looks at the seventh house, which is Rahu. They are always opposites, Rahu and Ketu. They are always 7 houses away. Now, what does aspect mean here in Vedic astrology? It means there's a term called drishti. Drishti means the house they are looking at, and whichever houses or signs they are looking at, that house gets the influence of it. So Ketu not only looks at the 7th house, which is the opposite, it also looks at the 5th and the 9th house. The 5th and the 9th house is fine, but the most importantly I want to say is the 7th house, because this is where the confusion comes. Remember, Rahu is the opposite of Ketu, right? So when it comes to a relationship, Rahu is always, because it's in the 7th house, Rahu will feel attracted to people who wants to do more, wants to go out and meet a lot of people, wants to do more charity, wants to feel the presence of people. However, Ketu on the other hand have this thing that being a recluse is the right way to go. So there's always this conflict of whether you should go out to the public and meet people, or just stay at home and do your read your books and do your own research. So Ketu ascendant peoples are normally seen like that. They have this kind of split personality. Some serious cases goes up to even schizophrenics. They're in their own world, trying to understand what reality is, and they truly excel in the spiritual realm. They do really well as gurus, as spiritual translators, as people who do research in spirituality, right? And they develop this sense, because the first house also represents childhood. They develop this spiritual sense when they were very young. Okay, so what else? Yeah, so in summary, these Ketu ascendants are leaders. They are not followers. They find breakthroughs in their careers, and they are always having identity problems. They are not sure who they are, what is their call, what is their purpose in life. So they'll do just whatever people are doing, but then inside them, they always have this question mark, a huge big question mark inside them, saying what are they supposed to do in this life. And these kind of people can be dangerous, right? Because they are unsure about who they are. Yes, they may have a lot of money, but it doesn't mean that they are stable within. They're always questioning themselves, they're always questioning people, right? And now these things will get worse. If the nodes Ketu and Rahu is conjuncted with another planet, let's say you have Ketu and Moon in the ascendant, in the first house. What happens? Now Ketu will absorb the qualities of Moon. Every qualities of Moon will be absorbed, and it adds its own attribute towards it as well. So Ketu will transform into Moon with its qualities. So there's a new graha, sort of Ketu Moon graha, sort of. It creates such thing, and that's what it does. Even Rahu, for that case, if it's with another planet, it will tend to take its own their features and add its own personality to it. So it can be dangerous and damaging in many cases. I guess that's a little bit on what are my thoughts about Ketu in the first house. I hope it has been beneficial and educational for you. I hope to do more videos soon. So with that said, Namaste.